everybody. Welcome to the PBYFL Press Box Show. My name is Mario.
My name is Matt. The purpose of this show is to go over our preseason predictions for this week's upcoming games. We'll also be discussing players to watch and our season predictions total overall for the championship games. So before we get into all that, we're going to go straight to our season openers this week. Mario, I'll let you go first with the Steers and the Panthers.
All right, we've got the Panthers versus the Steers over in Grande, and for the flag division, I am going to go with the Panthers.
And we disagree already.
Yay.
I go with the Steers for the simple fact that those two teams with the Predators and the Steers, they merged. Predators were in the championship game last year and won it in umpteen overtimes. I think they've got a good returning group of players and obviously coaches that know how to get them to the big stage. So,
well, I know of a little kid out there, a little man Hurd, who's got some wheels on him. And as we all know, in the flag division, the corners is where if you cannot contain, you're more likely going to lose, especially a little speedster like this kid.
Okay.
So my vote is for the Panthers for that reason.
All right, well, we'll see. Freshman division, I've got the Panthers. The reason I've got the Panthers is exactly what you just said, speed. And they have a ton of it. I mean, I saw a lot of these kids playing preseason. They played well. I mean, they didn't have a complete cast of players around them, but the coaches went out and they did some recruiting. The coaches they work well together, so I think they'll have these boys ready to go week one.
Well, I promise you I'm not repeating myself, but they also have a kid named Hurd.
Yeah.
That we got to scrimmage him, Mr. Tate, and yes, if they can continue to grow, then they will be a program a team to be reckoned with. So I also picked the Panthers.
All right, so we're splitting so far. Well,
So far.
I am. JV division. All right, here's my deal. Again, with the merger, a lot of talent coming in, but I've heard rumors, and Keegan probably knows exactly who I'm talking about, and Roger, of a new player that just moved into town, and they're building around him, and I've heard great things about him. Haven't seen him. Really not looking forward to seeing him. But seeing him play against the Panthers, we'll get to gauge him, from a D2 aspect. I'll get a good look at this kid. But I see the Steers, with the talent that the Panthers have. I don't know if they've got it all put together yet, but I see the Steers with all that talent they have and these new pieces. I think they take this. And a close one. It'll be high scoring, but I think the Steers take that one.
I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I was going to say. I believe, though, I think we're going to disagree again. I'm going to go with the Panthers edging out the Steers. So, favor, Panthers, close game, fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of talent on the field.
Why do you think the Panthers have the edge in that one?
Just because. I mean, like you said, with the Steers, the merger that's going on in Big Spring, you've got to have that you've got to be able to mesh well.
Continuity.
Exactly. All the players have got to have been together for a good little while, like the Panthers, in my opinion. The Steers, great. You can bring a lot of A players to a team, but if they haven't played together,
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Later on down the road, as they continue to grow, then that may change, down the road. But week one, I don't think it's there just yet. I believe the Panthers edge out the Steers.
I think it'll be a good game. I mean, Coach Curry and Coach Ross, they both know the game. They both obviously have a wealth of talent on their rosters. I gave the edge to the Steers, but you know what? Either which way, like you said, it'll be a fun game to watch.
It's going to be good.
Moving on up to the big boys. Varsity. I'm going to let you go first.
Steers.
All right.
Steers are going to take this one. No, that's the wrong kid. He's in JV, isn't he? What's that? Big kid, Franks. That's a JV kid, isn't he?
He's Broncos.
Oh, there you go. So even better. We're going to go with Steers.
You got
all
Steers?
the way.
I got Steers taking varsity. I know the Panthers have a couple of key players that are coming off of injuries. I know a lot of coaches and players are new to this team, and like we spoke on earlier, continuity, having that gel. Preseason game's a good time to work out the bugs and work out the issues. I think the Steers will put up enough points to walk out of there with the win, but I won't count the Panthers out, going forward. Give them time to work everything out. I think they'll be fine. I just think week one, you got to give it to the team that's been together.
So we're not in this matchup. We're not predicting. Did we predict any routes? I mean, any just flat out blowouts?
I think the Panthers. I think the Panthers freshman team. I mean, I think with the speed that they have and the coaches, Coach Cedric, you know, he's a student of the game, so I think he'll coach them up. Tate Hurd, like you mentioned, if he can get to that outside perimeter, there's nobody on last year's team that's going to catch him.
Correct.
All right, moving on into week one matchup number 2, we've got the Tall City Gators against a new organization, the Compass Academy Cougars. Mario, flag division, what do you got?
Flag division, I'm going to go with the Gators. Gators.
Gators flag didn't win a game last year. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure we didn't score.
So they're due.
They're due.
So if they didn't score, similar to another team that, you know, a town that I live in, did the same.
Okay.
And what you see coming up is all those youngsters have 1 year under their belt. It's go time.
Okay.
For them.
I've got the Gators, you know, for the simple fact, Coach Clater. Joseph Clater's with the Gators now. He's got his son Bryson.
Yep.
They've got some other kids, Ryder Freetag's back. So I think, like you said, year 2, they've got the losing down. Now it's time to work on the winning.
That's right.
So I've got the Gators winning the flag game. Freshman.
Freshman, I have the Gators.
Gators.
I still have the Gators, correct. Gators taking the Cougars again.
I've got Gators. I know Coach Harshenberger with the Cougars. He won't like that prediction, but at the same time, you've got to go with what you know. And the Gators freshman was in the championship game last year. Total rehaul or overhaul on their coaching staff. A lot of players moved up, a lot of players moved on. But the winning mentality is there. They'll build on that. They'll carry that over into this first game of the season. So I've got Gators freshman. You've got Gators freshman. JV.
Same thing. You just nailed it. They had a lot of those the winning players move in or age up to the JV. So all they just know how to win.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
And you've got Jace Thompson, returning MVP, super running back, super speed. Jace Thompson is gonna, he's gonna be the heartbeat of that team, and they've got a lot of talent. They've got Oscar Alvarez. He's a punishing running back. They've got kids to put around him this year. Last year, Jace was the show, but he had some other pieces around him. Some of those kids, like we said earlier, moved on, but they had a wealth of talent move up. They've got a lot of talent moved up, so I think that'll carry over. So we've got Gators in a sweep so far.
So far.
Varsity level.
Key word so far. Cougars. Here they
Cougars.
come. I'm going to go with just by looking at these boys. And when I say that, we were certifying these kids. When they walked in, I mean, they were all my size. And I'm sitting there going,
Look like the Nebraska offensive line.
Exactly. There's some corn-fed looking big old boys over there who were just big old country boys.
Right.
So whether they're running the ball, blocking for somebody, who knows? I just think it's going to be too much for the Gators organization.
And who better to block for? Who better to block for than Cranfield and Bishop over there? They got 2 running backs. It's a 2-headed monster in the backfield.
Yeah.
You got Coach Cranfield.
Bishop kid, yeah.
Coach Cranfield. He's got a lot of toys to work with and a lot of things, a lot of options out there. So nothing against the Gators. As we know, the Gators have a lot of injuries coming into week 1.
There you go.
Some key injuries coming into week 1. So how they overcome that, it's going to be difficult, especially, first game right out of the box when you're facing a very talented Division II team.
Correct.
So,
and again, we got to remember, this is preseason. These are preseason games. We're pitting a lot of D1s against D2s. Don't let that fool you. So it's going to be fun.
So we've got Gators, Cougars.
Cougars, that's correct.
All right.
3 to Gators, 1 to the Cougars.
All right.
Alrighty, moving on to the next one. Week 1, matchup number 3. Now, bear with us here because we've got a freshman squad, the Pecos Patriots, going against the Pecos Eagles. And then the next division up, we've got the Midland Christian Mustangs against the Pecos, Eagles, and then same with the varsity. So I promise you, we're not. There's a whole lot of Pecos going on here. So just hear us out, all right? So the first one, who are you going to go with? We've got the Eagles against the Pecos Eagles against the Pecos Patriots freshmen.
Pecos Eagles, all day. Pecos Eagles simply because they're the established team in Pecos. You know, I know the Patriots probably got some players from the Eagles. I know they got some kids from Rec, but you can't mess with what they have going over there, the tradition that they have.
Correct.
You know, Jenny has done a good job of putting together coaching staffs that they go out and find them. And I don't know where they find them, but every season in every division, Pecos is competitive. So when you put them up against a new organization, you have to go with Pecos. Well, Pecos Eagles.
Yeah, see there? All right, so I agree. You've got Pecos that will take it over the Pecos Patriots for that very reason. I mean, I totally agree. We as in Andrews, have always dealt with these Pecos Eagles. We know a lot about them. We know about the talent in Pecos. So I believe that the split, I don't think it was enough to really hurt the original Pecos Eagles squad. I think they take them.
All right. Let's go up to the JV division.
JV division.
You've got Coach Nathan, who moved over from the GMFL, was with the Patriots over there. Brought a lot of kids with him, but brought some kids from the Saints. A lot of GMFL kids, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he went out and he got, you don't want to say the cream of the crop because you don't want to say no league has talent, but he got a lot of the talent out of that league, especially in that division. So I think with the talent that he's got and the coaching experience that he has, even against Pecos, a team that's established, you know, I think Pecos is going to run into a kind of a buzzsaw week one.
I agree. I've got the, being from Midland, a few years back, I've got to watch a lot of these kids growing up, and I've seen a lot of the talent come out of the Midland Christian organization as a high school, and they know how to groom them, and they really do. And if he brought over multiple teams, some of those good kids from all those other organizations, I really think that Midland Christian team is going to be fun to watch. Just another sport they're going to be good at.
Yeah.
So, here we go.
And now with Midland Christian basically having an organization in the league, you wonder what that's going to do for their JV or their junior high divisions moving up. So they're really grooming them from the ground up now.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Good deal. On the varsity level, I've got Pecos Eagles. Those boys, they've been to war.
Yeah.
They've earned their stripes, so to speak. Ricky Spiller with the Mustangs, he's been in the league for a while now, and he's taken his lumps. He's dished out his lumps. But when you run into Pecos Eagles in Pecos, game one, I got Pecos.
Alrighty, so we almost made it to the end. I've got the Mustangs. Again, that Midland Christian organization there in Midland, they know where to get them from, and they get them. They get a lot of them. First year in the organization, though, this year. So there are some unknowns in the organization, but I think there's enough talent over in Midland, in the Mustang pool, if you will, there that I think they're going to get it together, and I think they're gonna put their foothold or their stamp on the PBYFL from week one moving forward.
Biggest thing, do they overcome Pecos' home field advantage? That 125-degree heat melts your cleat to the turf, home field advantage.
The heat does come from the ground up in Pecos. I don't know
you
how
look,
it works, but it does.
You look at the pro level, when teams go to Denver, they have to deal with the thin air.
Correct.
They go to Pecos, you're about 3,000 miles closer to the surface of the sun.
That's true.
Pecos is used to it.
And it's the varsity team. They play later in the day, and it's like you said. I'm going to stick with it.
All right.
I'm going to stick with it. We'll see.
See how it goes. All right. All right, moving on to matchup number 4 of week 1. A couple of really powerhouses in their own divisions. You got the Stanton Buffaloes and the Odessa Seahawks. Freshmen, let's go obviously start with flag division.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with this. The Seahawks always have a good flag team. They recruit well. I don't know if it's little brothers of really good older brothers. But the Seahawks flag team, traditionally, they're good, they're stout, and they start quick, so I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
Well, let's just start with a disagreement, all right? Again, I'm going to go with Stanton. I'm going to go with Stanton flag. And the only reason I say that is just because I'm a small town guy. I mean, you know, these small towns get all of them shifty little kids that are just running and quick and fast all over the place, and they pull them from all over the place. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to go with the Buffaloes on that one.
Freshman division.
Seahawks.
Thought you were a small town guy.
I am. But when you have talent, I mean, talent's talent. It's just the way it is.
Okay. Yeah, Coach Anthony, he coached a flag team in the spring, took a lot of those kids up with him. I don't know what kind of nucleus he had to build around, but I know the kids he brought up, talented squad, talented
didn't
group.
hurt.
No, it didn't. The addition of the kids he brought up certainly didn't hurt their case. So I've got the Seahawks winning the freshman division in that game.
I agree. I concur.
JV division.
JV, I'm going back to the Buffaloes. I'm going to go back to the Buffaloes and roll with those kids. If I'm not mistaken, from last year, they had quite a few of them move up from that freshman team that finished third last year, if I'm not mistaken. They finished third in the Division 2 last year. So he took a lot of those with him. So I think, similar to the Seahawks, he added some pretty good talent to that JV squad, and I think they'll take the Seahawks. JV.
I agree. I've got Buffaloes winning that game for the simple fact that they've got an entire town behind them. They've got the best kids in Stanton. And really, I think they got some kids from the surrounding areas. So when you go out and you have really the pick of the litter of, you know, whatever kids you want.
Correct.
And you can't overlook the fact that Joe DeLeon has put together phenomenal coaching staff, top to bottom. So that gives the Buffaloes the edge. Not discounting anything that Randy Adams has done. Randy Adams was coach of the Seahawks, been in the league forever, done some great things. But at the end of the day, you got to look at overall picture, and overall, I think the Buffaloes take that game.
There will be a winner and there will be a loser.
Varsity division.
Varsity. I'm going the other way. So I'm going to the Seahawks. On the varsity, I don't know why. I'm just going to go with the Seahawks.
You're picking on tradition.
I'm just closing my eyes, and I'm picking the Seahawks.
I've got the Buffaloes. I've got the Buffaloes. They were in the championship game last year, as were the Seahawks in Division 1. Whereas the difference lies is the Buffaloes bring back a heck of a lot more players. The Seahawks are basically in a rebuilding year. 3 years running the championship game. It's got to come to an end somewhere. I think the Buffaloes mark the end of that week 1.
There we go.
Now, will it be lights out, turn off the lights, go home for the Seahawks? No, absolutely not. Anthony will rally everybody. They'll build things back up, and they'll have a respectable year. But Stanton week 1's a tough draw for anybody.
There you go. All right, so I've got a split, freshman and JV to the Buffaloes, and then I got the flag in the JV for the Buffaloes, freshman and varsity Seahawks.
I've got just the opposite. That's how we roll.
There we go.
All right.
Alrighty, here we go again. Week 1, matchup number 5. We've got the Greenwood Rangers against the West Texas Cowboys out in Greenwood. And go ahead, Mr. Matt.
I would like to say that Greenwood's going to have a good weekend, but obviously with the talent that the Cowboys bring, top to bottom, I think the closest of the games will be in that flag division. I think because you really don't know what a team's got in that flag division, and I don't know what the Cowboys are returning. I don't know what Greenwood's bringing back, so that's why I'm saying that's going to be a close game. But beyond that, I don't know.
Well, beyond that, it's Cowboys. Like Matt was saying, though, the only unknown is what both these teams are bringing to the flag game. But we know that the Cowboys organization as a whole is a pretty stout organization. So I've got the Cowboys as a sweep against the Rangers. They're going to drive into town, take care of business, and probably cook out that afternoon and enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cowboys go in. They take every game. Like I said, the flag division, it'll be the unknown. Freshman division, J.C. Tucker, Mike Jimenez, Coach Chuck. There's too much there.
Too much.
And then you even go up the division. I know the JV Cowboys, they lost some key players. But Coach Dillon, he's a motivator.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to get the most out of his kids. And, he's one of those coaches that he doesn't feel like he has to have the most talented kids because he believes he can coach up any kid out there. So he's going to take the talent he has, coach up what's around him, and go to Greenwood and just really, I think they put it on the
They
Raiders.
go to work. That's right.
And then you got the varsity division, Coach David Baltazar, Big D. He's got a lot of players that moved on from last year's squad.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just like the other teams in his division, that Cowboy name, that star, draws players. It draws parents. They want to be a part of the mystique. They want to be a part of the Cowboys organization. I think they filled the gaps they needed to fill, and I don't think Greenwood. I don't think they may have recuperated quite as well from last year. So I give the Cowboys in a sweep, but Greenwood, I think they'll go out and they'll fight every game.
They'll compete.
Yeah, and Coach Dustin, he's got the coaches that they'll have those boys ready to go to battle. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the talent on the sidelines, and
That's all there is to it.
It doesn't add up. So
It just doesn't. So yeah,
Cowboys in a sweep.
Cowboys in a sweep.
All right, moving on. Week 1, matchup 6. We got a new organization, the Midland Rebels.
Yep.
Repping that league color, going against an established organization in the Howard County Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Valencia's bunch. I'm gonna let you take the lead on that one.
Alrighty, I'm gonna start off in the flag division. I'm gonna give it to the Rebels, and talking to Matt a little bit about those. If I'm not mistaken, over the summer I saw some kids out there at Norman's summer camp deal, and if these two kids that I think I saw out there are on this squad, which I believe they are, forgive me, I don't know their names, but if those two boys are on this Rebel squad, there's going to be issues for the Broncos. They are quick, and fast. So that is the only reason I'm going with the Rebels.
Okay.
That's all I got.
As in all flag divisions, you got your unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos are a returning organization. Rebels, I really know nothing about their flag division. R.E. Hopkins and Clint McNutt and Pablo, they've put together some squads. They went out and they've got some kids, but we don't know what they have.
Correct.
So you got to go with what you know, and I think the Broncos, traditionally, their flag division is pretty competitive. I think they got 3rd or 4th last year. They ran into some tough squads with that Predator squad and that Pegasus Eagle squad. So I think you give them another year to learn and build.
Mm-hmm.
I got Broncos winning the flag game.
All right. Going on to the next game, the freshman matchup. I've got the Broncos.
Broncos.
Exactly what you said. They are established. They are the team that. Are they not a merger with? Is it Colorado City?
They did get some kids from Colorado City when the Wolves folded. They brought over, I think, 6 or 7 kids from Colorado City. So, it's one of those deals. The rich get richer, and
right.
So they've got some talent. I don't know what Colorado City had, but it can't hurt to add what they've got.
Correct. So Broncos. Freshman.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the JV. Again, I've got the Broncos.
See, I disagree. I think the Rebels, the Rebels are another organization like the Mustangs. A lot of those kids come from the GMFL. So, what teams they come from, I think some were from the Colts. I think some, it's a blend. But I think Clint McNutt's the coach of that team. Clint obviously was part of those storied Lee program with Cedric Benson and all those guys out there. So, Clint knows football, and Clint thinks he's got a good squad over there. So if Clint thinks he's got a good squad, I'm gonna have to buy into that.
There we go.
I'm going with the Rebels.
All right. Varsity game or varsity matchup. I'm still going with the Broncos. Broncos on the varsity level, and back to that JV. Did we forgot to mention that stud that was back there from last year? Franks.
Varsity.
He's on varsity. He moved
on
up.
varsity.
That's right. So he's moved up to varsity. There you go. So I'm gonna go with Broncos varsity.
I think the Broncos varsity, obviously, they're in the post Vineyard era.
Oh man.
Yeah, you got to you ride that roller coaster as long as you can. You enjoy the ride, but when it's over,
Golly.
you got to figure out how to rebuild. So other teams and other divisions, you know, when they have those,
that era's over.
Oh yeah. But when you have players that carry an organization, and I'm not saying he's the only tool they had, but outside looking in, that's what you game planned against as an opposing coach.
Correct.
Now that you don't have to worry about that, you think, okay, man, we've got this Broncos team pegged, and then boom, DJ Franks moves up.
Exactly.
Is he a Jaden Vineyard? I don't know. Time will tell. He obviously comes from a storied football family over there in Big Spring with Bubba Franks, you know, being in the family tree. So football's in his blood. Let's see what he does on the field on the varsity level. So I've got the Broncos winning that game, but I think it'll be a close game, and I think DJ Franks will be the difference.
There we go. Alrighty, the last matchup of the first week is going to be with the Oilers out of Odessa against the Andrews Mustangs. Andrews will be traveling to Odessa to take on the Oilers. So, let's have fun with this one. Who do you got, Matt? You go first.
You know, completely non-biased. Going off what we've said from the beginning of the show, flag division, you really don't know what you got. But I know what the Mustangs have. They have a bunch of kids that didn't win a game last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to start on fire this year. I think winning is not something you just pick up. It's learned. I think they'll come out and they'll be very competitive in their first game, but I think the Texans will take it.
Well, I'm going to try my best to be neutral or unbiased here, but I am helping out on this flag football team. I've seen all these kids that are out there, and we have touched on that. Basically, that entire flag team that was there last year that I believe did not win a game.
No, not a game.
Will break that bad year. All right, so I believe that the Mustangs will come out. I think there's only 3 kids that are new to the league, my son being one of them. So be on the lookout for Mr. Zayden Aguilar. You got Ashton Figueroa over there. You got Malachi. I think the Mustangs are going to take it. They're, quite frankly, they're looking really good. Dimitri Figueroa over there is the head coach, and he's doing some good things. So I believe the Mustang flag team will chalk up their first win.
All right. Freshman division. You know a lot about that division. I'll let you. You know what? I'll take the lead on this. I'll take the bullet. You know, it all stems back to continuity. If a team has that gel, if they've been together long enough, your squad, they've got a couple seasons under their belt together. They've got a couple of successful winning seasons under their belt together. This Texans squad, you know, they're new to the league. A lot of these kids, I don't know if they're first-year players, but they're definitely first year with this organization. Mm-hmm. I'm not real familiar with the Texans coach, but I know Ernie Almonte, who's the AD over there. You know, he's not going to put some guy out there that doesn't know what he's doing. That being said, you've still got to reflect back on the product on the field. And I think the Mustangs freshman squad, I saw them go against a Longhorns Typha squad. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Longhorns were much bigger. That Mustang squad, they sat there like two boxers in the middle of a ring trading punches back and forth, and they never backed down. The Longhorns would get a big play, and then the Mustangs would get a big play. So the ebb and flow of the game was good. I think they build on that, and they come out week one and start out hot. So I got Mustangs in that one.
And I'm going to go with the freshmen, the Mustangs. I'm
Shocker
sorry.
alert, right? Spoiler
alert. I do want to keep my job, so I'm going to go with the freshman Mustang for a lot of the same reasons. You've got the team that just came off of a Super Bowl appearance last year. These senior kids on this freshman team they've got one Super Bowl under their belt, so we've been together for now going on starting our 3rd year. So I'm excited for the entire season, but I just absolutely have to go with the Mustangs.
All right. JV division. This is where I step in front of the bullet on this one.
There you go.
I'm currently, I'm coaching the JV division and moving down from D1 to D2. I didn't know what to expect. Obviously you think smaller town, smaller talent pool, less talent. Couldn't have been more wrong. I was lucky enough to get on a squad with a tremendous amount of talent, a whole lot of size. The biggest offensive line I've had coaching in my entire coaching experience. But not only size, I got speed.
Oh yeah.
I got speed in the form of MJ Peterson returning, or actually moving up from last year's freshman squad. Great running back. Tommy Evans.
Tommy Evans.
Tommy Evans
The
is
bullet.
The bullet. Yeah, that's an understatement. Tommy, he's lightning in a bottle. Anytime he gets the ball, he almost works better on busted plays because he improvises. And when he improvises, his field vision, his shiftiness, the kid's like tackling a shadow. You just really can't get a hold of him. Mm-hmm. And even when you think you've got him, you're left face down in the dirt, and he's running past you. So defensively, it's got a good squad. Javi Emiliano, he's the defensive coach. Mm-hmm. High school pedigree coach. He comes from the high school ranks. He knows football, and when we scrimmage and practice, the amount of football knowledge he has, and the way he can actually get that to the kids, they pick up on it. They act. Mm-hmm. They act accordingly. So, with what we have, plus we've got a monster tight end. We call him Baby Gronk, Jay Wilson. Mm-hmm. The kid, he catches the ball. You better pack a lunch. You better bring a friend, because you're not going to bring him down with one guy. Right. He's not overwhelmingly fast, but
very aggressive.
He'll take you for a ride if you want to jump on his back. So, I don't know what the Texans have, but I know what we've got, and I think we win that game.
I agree. I believe the JV will take the Oilers, and the Texans. Sorry, and as of last year, I got to coach some of these kids, the MJ Petersons that you mentioned. You got the Camden Lawhon. That boy will light you up if you're not paying attention. Even if you are paying attention.
Yep. They call him the boom for a reason.
He is the boom. He will bring it, and size does not matter, that kid.
No.
He will give you 110% of his. I don't know if that boy even weighs 100 pounds, does he?
But if you're a football fan and you remember Mike Allstott, shrink him down, same shoulder pads and everything. The kid, he looks like a miniature version of Mike Allstott, and he runs like it. So he's fun to watch.
Yes, but Tommy Evans, you nailed that on the head. That boy, if you do not contain him, if you do not get to him before he gets 2 steps, good luck. That boy is fast, and he'll be fun to watch this season. So JV Mustangs, I think they take it. So that's our pick on that matchup.
Varsity level. This is where you run into a little bit of a difference. You got Mike Hudson moving up from the JV division.
Correct.
Championship ring on his finger. Mm-hmm. Good background in the league. Young squad.
Correct.
Very young squad. Then you've got Ernie Almonte, who's got Joe Ortega, Pete Ramos. He's got a coaching staff that any one of those guys could be a head coach. Mm-hmm. Joe Ortega, he runs an offense that, for the age group that these kids are, it's phenomenal. Yeah. And he's got them executing. He's got the little Pete Ramos and the kid they call Cowboy and Joe's son. So, they've got weapons galore. They've got these guys, while they're new to the league, they were with the league a few years back, and they've come up through the league. So, having been able to watch those guys and see what they're able to accomplish, with all that Mike Hudson has, and the Bo Hudson leading that team, I think the Oilers just bring too much to the table week 1. It'll be something, that they might look for a rematch after the season, but I think week 1, game 1, Oilers take that game.
I agree with you. You mentioned Bo Hudson. What is he? 2-time overall MVP back in his JV days. Has moved up. He is now the new kid on the block, if you will, from the higher division here, the varsity. Mike Hudson, he's been coaching these boys for at least the last 3 years, since Andrews has come back to the PBYFL, if I'm not mistaken. But like you said, I just think it's too much for a individual like Bo to overcome by himself. He's going to have to get some of those other Mustangs out there to circle around him and help him. Now, this is just week 1. We're not talking about the championship at the end of the year, things like that. But like Matt mentioned, week 1, I just don't think that it's all put together just yet. But big things to come from the Andrews varsity as well.
And the thing you got to look at, you should take into account is the level of talent that these young Mustangs are going to play week 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to face a team like that until the end of the season, maybe when they run into the Cougars.
Correct.
I think really, at the varsity level, Mike's I think he'll have those boys ready for war after that game,
mm-hmm.
and they'll have that chip on their shoulder, and they'll know, okay, this is what defeat feels like. We don't like it.
Yeah.
And the next team they play, which
they'll do something about it.
They got the Steers next week, so Steers better get ready for a salty Mustangs team.
There you go.
All right, now that we've discussed week 1 matchups, let's talk about the rest of the season. When you talk about next level talent, the players that really make the difference, the game breakers, the game makers, the playmakers, Division 1. What names really jump off the play sheet, the rosters at you? Who do you think is going to be able to carry their team or really push their team over the top to get them to the championship game?
Well, just top of the list for me, J.C. Tucker in the freshman division.
Jay Sizzle.
Jay Sizzle, that's correct. West Texas Cowboy, the reigning fastest man on turf in the freshman Division 1. I mean, he has been lights out for 2 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Super Bowl winner. He's a league MVP multiple times, or Super Bowl MVP as well. I mean, that boy, he gets the awards for a reason. Now, mind you, he doesn't do it all by himself. He's got his team around him, but he is definitely on the hit list.
Piggybacking off what you just said, he does have players around him.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Big Mike Jimenez.
Big Mike.
They got Mike playing quarterback. The kid looks like a 14-year-old out there among boys. He's built different.
His dad, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Shrunk down.
His dad's got him playing different. He's the only quarterback in the league that you'll see slow down for contact.
That's right.
He wants the contact. He wants the stiff arm. He wants to let you know, I'm going to be here all day. There's nothing you can do about it. So
that's correct.
With a combination of his power and Sizzle speed,
I
coached against it last year. I coached against it twice. In the championship game, we would have them contained. Our sideline was, hey, it's 3rd and 14. We're good. And next thing you know, you got Tucker up the sideline breaking 14 tackles.
Yeah.
And it stills the heart right out of your kids because
his vision is phenomenal. I mean, he's got it. He's a good kid, too. I got to play with him in our spring series, and he was an absolute joy. I mean, humble boy, doesn't have much to say verbally. He lets his work on the field do all the talking. So, good kid.
And really, in the Division I freshman division, those two boys really kind of stand out in the crowd.
Correct.
The next name on the list I have, is moving up to that junior varsity division. Very similar to J.C. Tucker for the Tall City Gators is Jace Thompson. Jace Thompson's another one of those kids who will leave you standing in a cloud of dust as he's celebrating in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to that edge, and there's nothing, absolutely at no angle you can teach a cornerback or a safety to take to counter that speed. So,
right.
Jace Thompson, his dad was a footballer. I mean, he comes from a football family. So, Jace is going to go out there and electrify like he did last year. He was one of the MVPs last year. So, I look for him to carry that over this year.
Well, I wanted to mention one other kid out of that freshman division, the Odessa Panthers. They got their quarterback over there as well, Tate Hurd. Smart kid. We got to scrimmage this boy, and I mean, he was. I wouldn't be surprised if he was checking out of plays from the line, reading your defense, and then trying to call something else. And I just from that one scrimmage, smart kid, wheels on him. And I think that in that freshman division, you put him and Big Mike as far as those quarterback positions.
Yeah.
I think those are your two outstanding players in Division I freshman quarterbacks.
Their skill sets are completely different. I mean, Tate's shifty. He's fast. I coached him when he was really young, and sideline to sideline. That's what he did.
Yeah.
We couldn't ever get him to turn upfield, and we knew, okay, if we can get this kid to turn upfield, it's lights out. And finally, last couple of years, he's figured out
North and
pay dirt's
south.
that way.
North
and
and south.
He gets there pretty often. So
There you go.
Tate Hurd's going to be hard to stop. Mike Jimenez, that freshman division, quarterback-wise,
I think
they're
those
good
are
to go.
top two, yeah. Varsity. Let's move on to the varsity.
I've got a couple more JV kids
All right,
I want
let's
to
go
touch
to
on
JV.
before we move on.
All right, okay.
Peyton Ross and Josh Curry. Both of those kids are on the Panthers JV. Both of them are coaches' kids, so they get coached up even at home. I know Peyton had taken a few years off from football and was playing flag, really developing his skill sets as a skill player, really, wide receiver, quarterback, just an athlete on the field. Josh Curry, power runner, great defender, all around. I mean, you can plug him in anywhere. He's like a Swiss Army knife out there. You put him out there, he's going to do what you want him to do. So, both of those boys, I think, in that JV division, I think they carry. I don't want to say they carry a team, but they push that team to the next level.
There you go. All right.
Moving to varsity, what you got?
Varsity, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but apparently the Odessa Panthers organization has quite a few studs in from the freshman up to varsity. So we've got Braden Eberts out there, that quarterback on that varsity squad. So he'll be one to watch, definitely be one to watch as well.
Right. On the varsity level, you know, I've got Pete Ramos, Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really even know what position he plays. He might be the quarterback. He might be a running back. What I do know is regardless of where you put him on the field, you put the ball in his hands and he's going to make a play.
Something's going to happen. Yeah.
I know a few years back he had a pretty significant knee injury. Took a while to find his form, but I've seen him play. I've seen him run around. I've seen what the offense that Joe has them running fits his skill set perfectly. So I think with Pete out there, obviously, like I said earlier in the show, he's got the tools around him. He's got players that are going to take a lot of heat off of him and make plays themselves. And so when you put a great athlete in a position where he doesn't feel like he has to perform, he gets to perform.
Correct.
He'll excel, and I think he'll do really well.
I guess we'll find out here. Saturday. What position he's actually playing.
Yep.
So we'll find out. We'll get back to you.
Division 2.
Division 2.
Freshman division.
Freshman division. We've got a kid over in Andrews. We've got two boys over there. We've got an Austin De La Cruz. Call that boy A-Train. Him and this other kid, they call him Camo. Yes, that is my boy. That is my son. So I'm trying my best to be, level here. But those two boys together, in my opinion, Camo, fastest kid in Division 2. Austin is right behind him. Camo's going to be running quarterback. A-Train will be in the backfield. So we have a newcomer. We call him Icebox. Hayden Dansby. 100-pound kid, fullback, and he is right behind Austin De La Cruz. So it's going to be fun to watch these boys work together. Austin and Camo have been together since flag, and they've complemented each other very well. It goes back to that comparison we had with Mike and Sizzle, that nice little duo. So there'll be a nice 1-2 punch there, in my opinion.
I've got a kid named Robert Evans out of Big Spring, Big Spring Steers. Played against him last year when he was with the Predators. Kid is he's all over the field. Hard to stop when he gets the ball. Hard to block when he's on defense. You really have to account for him wherever you're at. So anytime you have a kid that at that age level that a coach has to say, all right, where's he at on the field?
Correct.
When you can shut down a side of the field by placing a player in a certain spot, that's what you look for as a standout player. So I think Robert Evans, with the merger they had over there as well, the players that they're going to have around him, I think he's going to shine this year.
Alrighty. Then let's see. Over at Big Spring Steers, he's a JV kid, isn't he?
I think he's a freshman kid.
Alex, I think it's Alex Yanez. They got a couple Yanez's over there, and I believe it's Alex Yanez is the one we need to watch out for or look out for. That kid right there, another quarterback, smart kid, talented, quick. I mean, he's gonna. We hope. Actually, we don't hope, but we hope. The rest of the league hopes that you can get some of those players around him to let him do what he knows knows how to do. So we'll see.
Alex was explosive. You know, that Yanez kid, when we played him as the Gators last year, we would have them shut down, just like the Tucker kid with the Cowboys. We'd have them shut down, and he'd make a big play. He scored 2 or 3 touchdowns on us. And for a D1 team to be giving up multiple touchdowns to a D2 team, you know, you can say what you want, but when it's one player that is just lighting up the field, you really got to respect that. So the Yanez kid is going to be good. With the Evans kid, man, and any other parts they put around them, I look for them to do big things. And I think Keegan Clark is coaching that freshman team. The X factor there. So, Coach Keegan, put them boys to work.
There you go. Players to watch. That's all I've got as far as my D1, D2.
I've got a couple more kids. You know, on the JV division. Obviously, I touched on it earlier. Tommy Evans on the Mustangs. No need to go further into that.
Good man.
His stats will speak for themselves. But on the other side of that, you know, you got that rivalry with Pecos and Andrews. The other side of that rivalry is Colt Ramirez.
Colt
Ramirez is a minimum voice, and the kid plays at the next level. He doesn't play at his age level. You know, physically, mentally, he's a student of the game. The kid is a phenomenal athlete. Offensively, you know, last year in the championship game, the kid took it over.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely took over the championship game.
He got a front row seat to that one.
Yeah. The scoreboard was working that day. So.
It was.
Colt Ramirez over in Pecos, you know, he's going to do big things. I think they have another kid over there, Kane. I can't remember the last name off the top of my head, but Kane is a baller too. So you got those boys, and then you move up to the varsity level. We talked about DJ Franks. DJ Franks over in the Broncos, you know, carrying on the Franks name over there. He's going to do big things. Flip to back to Andrews. You got the reigning MVP, Bo Hudson.
Correct.
We talked about Bo earlier, all the things, all the intangibles he brings to the field, all the things that you really can't coach, but he's got the luxury of having dad as a coach.
Correct.
And so he's a student of the game as well. Talk to the kid off the field. Very bright, articulate kid. He knows what he's doing.
He does.
So on the field, you take all those intangibles, you put them in the body of a pure athlete.
Bo knows
Bo knows football.
Bo knows football.
That's going to stick. So
there we go.
Those are our players to watch, coaches. If you feel you have other players to watch, feel free to send those to us. Like I said, we'll be doing other shows throughout the season, and we'll see these kids. And so if we see a kid that's really shining on the field, we're going to give them some shine on the show. So
that's right. We will give them the respect they deserve.
All right.
Alrighty, so now we're going to move on to the championship predictions for Division 1 and 2, but we will start with the Division 2, and we will start at the bottom up. We'll go with the flag first. My prediction on that one, I believe that we will see the Big Spring Steers and the Pecos Eagles in that championship.
I have the same thing. You know, we talked about it all show long. We talked about it in the matchups. You know, the Steers and Pecos. The Steers have the luxury of that merger they had over there. Already talented squad.
Yeah.
And Pecos, you know, they've got something to prove. You know,
they do.
They had that split up. You know, some of the kids moved to the Patriots, and so those kids are going to come out and show, hey, we're still here. We're still on top until somebody proves otherwise. So,
2 overall well-built organizations, and I think they're, you know, I always refer to flag as the kindergarten of football. So these 2 organizations, I think, are going to get off to the right foot as far as establishing some good football talent for the years to come.
Who do you have winning that game?
Oh, man.
On the spot.
On the spot. Winning this game. I'm trying my best not to be, you know, show the rivalry here, but I'm going to go with the Steers. I'm going to say the Steers are going to take it.
I'm going to go with the Steers as well for the simple fact that last year in the merger, that Predator squad took Pecos to the line and won it over. You know, I think it's 3 or 4 overtimes.
I mean, it's the 2 evils here. You got a merger on one end with the Steers, and then you've got the split on the other. So we're going to see who made the right decision.
Right.
And I believe, apparently we both believe it's the Steers. So Steers take the flag.
Freshman division. I'll give my predictions first. You know, based on last year and years past, you know, you've got to look at the 2 teams that always seem to find their way into the title game. So while we would like to see Greenwood and Stanton and Howard County represented well. I think until you unseat these two teams, you got the Pecos Eagles and the Andrews Mustangs in the freshman division, and that's just tradition.
There you
that
go.
seems to be a reoccurring theme with Andrews and Pecos. So I think those two teams will square off.
I've got one of the two teams that you picked in there. Obviously, I agree. We've got tradition. Yes, the Pecos, and Andrews were in the Super Bowl or the championship last year, and a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, 75-80% of that Pecos squad moved on or aged up into the JV division. So I'm going to pick the new guys, the new kids on the block that will meet the Andrews Mustangs in the championship. I'm going to go with, on a whim, I'm going with Compass Cougars. They're going to make it to the championship this year. First year in the league. We'll see what happens. That's just a
bold prediction.
Just a hunch. There we go. And as far as winning it, I'll let you pick that. I mean, whoever you think, we've got two different competitors in that game, but you pick you can pick the winner on that one.
I think in my matchup, I've got the Mustangs and Pecos. I give it to the Mustangs for the fact that we brought up earlier about the split.
Mm-hmm.
That affected multiple divisions.
Correct.
And Andrews being able to maintain the roster they had last year. And yeah, they lost some players. MJ Peterson moved up.
Correct.
Some other key players moved up. But I think a lot of talent remains. And you got to go with what's out on the field, what's on the roster. And again, until proven otherwise, and these are way, way too early predictions, I got
Correct.
Andrews winning that division.
There we go. I'm not going to pick anybody. Just 'cause I believe Andrews, if I was looking at them on paper and with the history and everything that you've mentioned, I just have to agree. I have to agree that I believe the Mustangs will win the championship in the freshman division this year.
All right. Moving on to the JV division. Again, we've talked about the Pecos Andrews rivalry, but we've never really focused on the Big Spring Andrews rivalry, which all the way back to when I was in school, that was the matchup.
It was a true rivalry, high school rivalry.
And with the merger that the Steers and the Predators had, and these new kids that I've heard about but not yet seen, I think Big Spring's kind of the dark horse in that division. I think they'll be successful. With the talent they have, the coaches they have, and the new kids are coming in. I think Big Spring unseats Pecos, moves into that championship game. I think Andrews is still there to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
Andrews is the defending champion. You've got to go with the defending champion until proven otherwise. And
that's correct.
Right now, Andrews is the team to beat, and we'll see how it goes. But I've got Andrews in that championship game, winning that championship game against the Steers.
I got the same matchup. I've got the Mustangs against the Steers. Like he's touched on, you've got tradition, you've got a little rivalry sort of built into that matchup there from the high schools and the cities and all that good stuff. So there's the merger, there's you add an MJ to a Tommy as opposed to last year having a Tommy and a Bo. It's tit for tat. It's going to be one of those deals that I think Andrews is going to, I believe Andrews will take the championship at the JV division as well.
All right. Moving on to varsity. I'll let you start with varsity.
All right. In the varsity championship, there's this team that we just keep talking about, or these traditions and the history. So of these organizations, I believe we've got the Andrews Mustangs. Mike Hudson just came off of a championship last year. And he has that X factor, Mr. Bo Hudson. Bo knows football. And I'm going to throw another team out there that, again, just looking at their size at certification, now the only thing missing is to seeing if these boys that are this big can perform within their size. So I've got the Mustangs against the Compass Cougars in that varsity championship.
I've got the same matchup, but who do you have winning?
I'm going to go with the two-time reigning overall MVP, Mr. Bo Hudson. I believe he, as the younger or I guess you want to call the younger kid on the varsity squad. I believe he grows into that role and fills it and does what he does and does what he's been doing since he's been in this league. I mean, he at this point throughout a whole season, wouldn't wish injury on anybody, but assuming everybody gets through this season unscathed and injury free, he is going to grow into that position. He's going to establish and develop that team, and I believe they'll be primed and ready to go. I'm going to go with the Mustangs.
I've got Andrews coming in. Like you said, talented team, winning tradition, good coaching, good kids. But I'm going to go with the Cougars. For the simple fact of, and I just got a house in Andrews, so don't run me out. But for the simple fact of, Compass has been together for years, just like Andrews. But Compass has been battling D1 teams in their own league, granted at the YMCA, but they've been battling, and they're gelled. They've got that chemistry going, but they've also got Caden Bishop, moved over from the Rangers, pure speed on top of the Cranfield kid, on top of the size you spoke on. I think Andrews comes in. They represent well. They set the tone for the following year. I think they make a run the next year, but I think Compass comes in and gets a ring.
All right, so looks like D2, we've got Flag, Steers, correct? We agreed on that?
Steers.
Freshman, we got Andrews Mustangs.
Andrews Mustangs.
JV, Andrews Mustangs. Varsity, Split. So looks like Andrews, Division II, should have a good showing this year. And again, those are just predictions, but we'll see what happens. Good luck to everybody this year.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Division I championship weekend. Always a big weekend in the league. You got your Division II games. Take nothing away from them. Division I, that's where the big cities play.
Correct.
I'd like to delve into that, see kind of where you think we're at. We'll start with the Flag Division. Who you got?
I've got the Gators and the Panthers going at it in that one. Again, I think those Panthers, that little, I call him Little Herd. I mean, he's got brother Tate up in the freshman level, so Little Herd is going to be, if all goes well through the season, injury free. I mean, we're looking at MVP. We can say it. I'm just going to throw it out there. We got MVP type talk. All eyes on him. I think he carries them there, gets them through the game, and we win it. I'm sorry, they win it. See, I wanted to play. Go ahead.
I've got Gators in the game, but I've got the Cowboys in the game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what I've been saying. The Cowboys top to bottom. You can't take away what they've done. Flag division's always an unknown, but what we know with the Cowboys is they're going to be good. They're going to be coached up. I'm not saying any other team's not going to have it, but those Cowboys, they're next level. They're going to run into Coach Clater's Gators, and I think the Gators eat them.
Eat them up. Eat them up. All right. Freshman division. Who you got?
It's going to be like a broken record in here, but I've got the Cowboys going. But I've got them going against the Panthers. I think Coach Simon, along with the players they have on that team, they're going to gel throughout the year. They might take some lumps here and there, but I think they're going to get into the championship game. But again, you got the star on the other side. You got Chuck. You got Sizzle. You got Big Mike. Give it to the team. Give it to the defending champs. I got the Cowboys in that one.
I've got that same matchup. I've got the Cowboys and the Panthers, and like we touched on earlier in the show, we talked about all the players to watch, and two of those quarterbacks, in my opinion, the best quarterbacks in Division I, will be going head to head, and the difference maker is going to be Sizzle. Sizzle will be the difference maker, I mean, I don't know what else to say. You got Chuck over there. He knows how to win. He's been doing it for a long time, as have Big Mike, Sizzle. They have, I mean, I don't know that those boys really, know how to lose.
Right.
I mean, they love to win. I mean, it's just, now, I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means. Both these teams will deserve to be there. So I'm gonna go with Cowboys.
All right.
Cowboys take it again.
JV division. I've got Midland Christian Mustangs. Coach Nathan coming over.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gets to the ship.
There you go.
But standing between him and his first PBYFL ring is the team that won it last year, Tall City Gators.
Yeah.
Coach Carl Pritchard's over there. You know, he inherited a very talented team. And then up come the freshman kids from that championship run team last year.
Mm-hmm.
With Carl, with some of the other coaches I have over there, Coach Thompson. You know, he's Coach Jason DeCrepin. They've got the coaches over there, but they've got the talent. I think the Gators kind of baptized the Mustangs into the league and take the win.
I got the same matchup, and I think I'm gonna go with I got the Gators and I got the Midland Christian Mustangs in that championship. And as you mentioned, you know, they're the new team to the league, going against the veteran, fine-tuned machine over there with the Gators. You know, graduating a championship team into an already championship team. I mean, it's just going to be, that game I believe is going to be, of the 4 games, in my opinion, I'm liking this one here because, again, I touched on it earlier, that Midland, you got both these teams are out of Midland.
Yep.
They're all fishing in the same pool. You've got Midland Christian that brings over some kids from other organizations. You've got the Gators who, like you mentioned with the Cowboys, there's just people that those kids want to play for the Gators. They draw those good kids. So this should be a studded out showdown, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I'm gonna go with the Mustangs. Welcome to the league. Here's your first championship, and I think they knock off the Gators.
All right.
Bold.
Division I varsity championship game.
There we go.
I'm gonna start this off for the simple fact that I see what you got. I see what you got.
This is bolder than the last pick?
You know, it's a nostalgic pick, but it's not the pick I've got. I've got the new team, Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come in. They're going to square off against the Gators. I think Levi gets things squared away. That team makes a championship run. Last year they got 4th. They fixed things. They brought in coaches. They brought in players. They added the pieces they needed to add, and they run into those Oilers. And you know that's not going to be a good thing. You know, I think the Oilers.
Coaching staff over there.
The Oilers coaching staff, and then the Oilers, you know, the fact that they didn't add a bunch of new kids, they've got the same core. I think that's going to play into it. I think in a close, I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think the Oilers take the championship.
So would you say that the Seahawks and the Panthers that I have here don't knock them off the week before and end up in the championship?
I say if this was 2017, that's my pick right there.
All right, so I got Seahawks and Panthers going into this game, and if I had to choose one, again, as Matt is probably figuring out, I like to shoot from the hip with my eyes closed. So and we'll see what sticks. But I'm gonna go with the Panthers. You got an Odessa matchup over here. We had the Midland matchup in the JV. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Just because I like to be bold.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Check back with us in 8-9 weeks.
Going back in time. All right, to round out today's show, we're going to recap a little bit and go to our games of the week. Games that if you're going to go watch one game this weekend, and I don't know how you would just pick one, and it took us forever to pick just one.
That's correct.
But with high school football, Pee Wee football, college football, NFL football, we're going to be footballed out. But Pee Wee games, you got to pick one.
Pick one.
Where are you going?
I'm going to go with this this Pecos split. You know, we got the Patriots, we got the Eagles. Everybody knows everybody type of deal. So I'm going to be curious to watch this little crosstown, in-town showdown over in Pecos. So I've got the Pecos Eagles against the Pecos Patriots. And I think that the Eagles, the original Pecos Eagles, will take this game, but I just want to see all these buddies, a little civil war going on over there in Pecos, and brothers against brothers, and duking it out, and friends out on the playground. But once you suit it up, I'm curious to see what they do.
My pick, you know, you talk about being under the lights. There's no bigger stage than Grande. At night, under the lights, you got the Gators at home taking on the Compass Cougars, a team that I'm putting in the championship game in Division II, going against a team that very well, you know, if they overcome injuries, could be in the championship game for Division I. But you know, I predicted the Cougars winning that game, and to come into Midland and go into the swamp, as they like to call it, and take on the Gators. I think they just catch the Gators at a good time.
New kids on the block.
They catch the Gators with injuries. They catch the Gators, you know, first game of the season. That's when you want to strike. So correct. I think the Cougars will come in and they're looking to, like you said earlier, kind of put their stamp on the league. Say, hey, we belong here.
Yeah.
And Coach Cranfield, you know, in our talks earlier, you know, in the offseason when he was talking about coming over, that was one of the things he was most excited about. Playing the big games under the lights against the big boys. So
he's getting it.
He's getting it
right out of the gate.
Coach Hasty's got a squad over there. You know, he's got a lot of coaches with him. Coach Matthews, who come over from the Longhorns, Coach Lackey, and then he's got Coach Hayden Ryan, and you know he's got a plethora of coaches over there. But the coaches can't play the game.
No,
the coaches can't play the game.
I don't think they can, and they want to, but no.
Coaches can't play the game. You got to put the kids out there, and I think you know, just from a standpoint of a team coming out wanting to prove a point, and a team coming out trying to survive injuries week one, you got to give it to the young blood. So I got Cougars winning that game, hungry. But it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna come into the swamp and push the Gators around, but I think they walk out there with a W. So that's my prediction. Levi, don't fire me.